freezing. It is probably, I'll check the exact temperature later, but probably like negative 10 degrees outside. And that may not sound bad to some, but it's freezing.
Spotting someone's audacious refusal to obey me is easy, isn't it? Pharaoh's livestock was dead. Many of his men lay dead in the streets from the hail I sent, and his own body was covered in boils. Yet Pharaoh still raised his fist to me. Many who read Pharaoh's response shake their heads, even though they have acted in the same way. Every time somebody flippantly disregards a minister's act, he disregards me. Every time my spirit convicts a person and she refuses to change, she dishonors me. You see, dear one, a heart doesn't always grow hard over big issues. Often the smallest issues develop the deepest roots and lead to long-standing attitudes of bitterness and resentment. The good news is I can turn a stony heart into a heart of flesh. Remorse brings repentance, and that is always my goal. I'm back. I'm sorry about the lighting change. I did most of the video this morning, and the lighting obviously has changed now. And we had a fire drill in this -degree weather. So I'm back to finish reading what basically we read in Exodus chapter 9, verses 1 through 6. So please understand, I'm just paraphrasing. This is just my interpretation of what I read, my summary. But if you want to read word for word, there are plenty of different messages, um, King James Version, New International Version, the Message Bible. There's plenty. So whatever fits your liking. But right now what we're reading is, we did read before in Exodus that Moses has been chosen and called by God to free the people in captivity. And that's what he's doing right now. He's trying to go to King Pharaoh and get him to let the people go. And King Pharaoh is just being extremely stubborn and not letting that happen. So in chapter 9, we're seeing a repetition of things happening. Before chapter 9, King Pharaoh's people had been struck by frogs covering everything in the town, flies, gnats, um, blood. So every time Moses would ask for the people to be released, King Pharaoh would be like, okay. And then he would change his mind, and God would send down a wrath of, I don't remember exactly the chapter, but frogs were everywhere in the nation, well, everywhere in the town, covering everything. And King Pharaoh eventually is like, oh my goodness, please uh, get rid of these frogs. And Moses would go back to God. The frogs would um, go away, and King Pharaoh said he would release the people if this were to happen. But once everything is fixed, then it's the same repetition. He's like, never mind, I'm going to keep them. And so in chapter 9, chapter 9, it's the animals. The animals are diseased with uh, certain disease, and all of King Pharaoh's animals die. But the people in captivity, the enslaved people, their animals are fine. So once all their animals die, King Pharaoh's like, oh man, well, if you just fix this, then I'll release your people. And it gets fixed, and yet again he continues to keep them enslaved. So what we're reading right now is just King Pharaoh and his disobedience. Um, a lot of the times we are very quick to go and judge somebody else for their wrongdoings when we're doing the exact same thing. And the devotion said, we're reading Pharaoh and his actions, and we're just reading like, because we see that he's repeating the same thing over and over again. But really, we do the same thing ourselves. we ask God for forgiveness and then commit sin the same next day. So it doesn't matter if you're committing sin or not. We shouldn't judge anybody else for their actions and what they're doing. That's not our place. It's our place to be there to help them, uplift them, and build them up. So, what I took from this devotion today was um, God gives us chance after chance to do right, and when we don't do right, it just dishonors Him, and it really puts a hold on our life because we're not able to grow, we're not able to move forward because we're stuck in a pattern of repeating the same bad habits. And so once you get used to something and you're comfortable in that state of mind, in that area, in that place, um, it's hard to break away from it. But God is there to take what you're used to and mold it back into what He has for us, to what He's ordained. Another thing I got from this devotion today, and how it can apply to our everyday lives, is we don't have to let what we've gone through depict the rest of our lives. Just because we've been in bad situations, because people have mistreated us and have led us to have a certain mindset, we don't have to keep that mindset. We don't have to stay angry. We don't have to stay bitter. I know lots of people who are stuck in a mindset of sadness and anger and can't let go because they're just holding on to whatever event that happened in their life. So I think this devotion is just saying to let go of whatever has happened to you and really put it in God's hands. I know the saying let go and let God is so cliche, but it just really says it all. You have to let go of your hurt, your anger, your shame, your bitterness, and give it to God. Let Him work it out, smooth it out, and give you the life that He truly has ordained, prepared, set aside just for you.